I don't cheese for the cam, nigga. Nah. Smile on the gram, they caught me slipping. I'm that nigga. Right? Fame for the young, just cut the check. Let me rap, nigga. Rap, nigga. Gravitas, now I'm a traveling smack dealer. Get all Genie.
Bling! Yo, y'all know what time it is, man. Salute to my man Drugs Beats, man. The album Gravitas out right now. A lot of other stuff on the way, but right now this ain't about me. Y'all already know who I am, man. Seven Da Pantha, aka the Carolina Hurricane, Ridiculous Slang, aka your baby mama's favorite rapper, aka Pie Strickland, if y'all getting the point. And of course, you know I don't bring y'all nothing but the dope, man. You know I've been on a kick lately, man, with North Carolina and hip hop and trying to bring the real story of North Carolina hip hop to the table. And there's no way that I could tell the story of hip hop in North Carolina, specifically the area of hip hop in North Carolina where I spread my wings in the 336. You cannot tell that story without speaking about this gentleman right here. Without further delay, the head honcho of Mightier to the Sword, Mr. I do 100 million things and I'm fire at all of them. Ty Brew, what's good, my brother?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show, man. The show. It's been a long time
in the making.
Yep.
Oh yeah. After I had Rue going here, I was like, "There's no way that I got Rue going here, and I'm not about to. This is not gonna."
I was like, I think he did that on purpose. He's like, man, I got to get on here because Ty been talking about it too much. I got to get on here first. You know how he is. I got to do this first.
Crazy, man. So man, I gotta ask you because I know I got a lot of viewers from the Northwest. I got a lot of viewers from the Northwest region and the West Coast in general. So I want to give them, you know, there's a lot of some of the questions I'm going to ask you are questions I kind of already know answers to, but they don't. So so we're gonna school them while we're in the process of catching up. So I gotta ask this, and I don't think I ever asked you this question, and I can't believe all this time I know you I never asked you, but I gotta ask you now. You're from Asheboro, North Carolina, correct?
Right. From Asheboro.
Okay.
The story goes is I was the first. I say this a lot when people ask that, the first Southern-born boy born in my family, you know, down here. So everybody, my mother was pretty much pregnant when she moved down here from Pennsylvania, New York area, Corny, New York, where the Glasswares was. So like coming down here, like I was already raised with a different mentality than the South. So like a lot of people get pretty confused when they like, you from Asheboro this whole time? Yeah, but like my whole family, like I was the first one born here in the South. So I've got that, I've got the roots, but then at the same time, like it just, you know, growing up in the South like that is a confusing time.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Especially with those other influences, and it seems like, well, everything you're telling me, everything I see here is so different from that. So like, that's crazy. So the $1 million question for me, and I'm gonna say this in a way you know me well enough to know that I don't mean this in an ill way when I say this, but how does a white guy from Asheboro, North Carolina, even become an MC? Like, what was your introduction to like really jumping in and getting involved?
My introduction was I think it was around 8 years old. So I grew up. Well, I didn't grow up. I was on what they call Elm Street for the first 5 years, 6 years of my life. So at that point, that's 80 to 85. So there's not like a lot of you know, influence musically except for, you know, what my parents would play. You know, not a lot of radio influence, especially no TVs because it's an antenna. There's no, you know, there's no music videos, things like that. So like it was a lot of, you know, Roberta Flack type stuff growing up, you know, that type of vibe. And then the Bee Gees, my parents really got into some Bee Gees, you know, when they moved down here. And about 8 years old, we had already moved away from the city. You know, Asheboro ain't big, but the city of Asheboro, we moved away and we went down to a spot that sold shoes. And we were gonna get a pair of shoes for the Kingdom Hall and a pair of shoes for school, right?
Right.
And so we got Converse. And there was a box of Converses, and what they were doing with that was like they were having this promotion where they had a cassette tape. and it came with, you could choose a cassette tape with your shoes. So like 8 years old, it was David Bowie and Biz Markie. And like really I had heard of neither one of them. And so I was like, I can't make my mind up. I still can't make my mind up to this day, but couldn't make my mind up. Dude was just like, just have both of them. So I was listening to David Bowie and Biz Markie, and like Biz Markie just it hit me. It was just like a single. It was two songs on there. One of them he never put on an album. The other one I think it was like Doing the Mudfoot or something real fun.
Oh yeah.
Beat. It had a coupon for another pair of Converses on the back. And like at that point, I started listening to both of those on a regular basis. Then I kind of got into Prince. Then I kind of got quick. Like it was Schoolie D quick, man. That was a really hard adjustment, but it was like we found some tapes at a pawn shop, and it was Schoolie D, Heavy D and the Boys. And then I started listening to these songs, and mind you, like I said, still about 8 years old, and going to the Kingdom Hall, we would always at the end of it. Now the Kingdom Hall, like I go into this quick because I haven't really dove into that a lot in my life or any interviews at all, but I know this is a good place to do so. So like what I just mentioned beforehand is, my parents moving down here didn't have any, religion to cling on to, and especially they weren't doing any of the hardcore Baptist things and stuff like that, but they were trying to find a place to go. And the Jehovah's Witnesses were very, very open, very accepting to all walks of life. So that's kind of what I was raised in when I was a kid. So I was there with, there wasn't many, stereotypical white folks at that Kingdom Hall. I mean, there was a lot of, there's people we kind of grew up with on Elm Street were out there. So then I started saying, let's listen to these tapes together. And so really the love for hip hop came from connecting with them and not my classmates, over there. Because over there, they weren't hearing it. They weren't hearing it at all. I mean, they had no idea what was going on. So the people that I kind of knew for the first 5 years of my life via the Kingdom Hall kind of like got me to be like, oh, this is, this is the right, this is right for me. This is the right music for me. And once I started knowing it, they started listening to it too, or had heard these things. Then my mind started getting blown when they were talking about breaks and all this stuff. This is the break beat from this record, and this is from this sample. And, Heavy D did that early on. He did a lot like that. And then it just kind of like, it gravitated to where like we were kind of making our own little songs after the Sunday Kingdom Hall sessions. We'd go out in the car and we would make these, and I could do that there, but I couldn't do it anywhere else. I could do it at home. My parents really didn't like, they just wanted me to get my shit done. They were fine with what I listened to for the most part. While I'm on that topic, I remember coming home with like a Motley Crue shirt one day from somebody in high school, and they weren't digging that, but they were cool with Schoolie D, man.
Motley Crue's wow. Man.
So that kind of went like, that's a long-winded background story about how I got to the point where I wanted to MC and I felt safe enough to MC. And really, I never did it at my school because I just knew that there was not enough people that would understand it. I knew that pretty early on, that they wouldn't understand it. There was a couple of people about middle school age. Middle school age is about the time when, that prime era, 92, 93, hip hop's coming out. You got Dr. Dre, you got Wu-Tang, you got Snoop, you got Eazy-E had just got some stuff out. 8 Ball and MJG was kind of getting on the radar, and there was just a few people that were starting to kind of like enjoy that. So like, of course, we would kind of migrate together in school, but it really wasn't until 8th grade when I really was like, I'm gonna write a song and I'm gonna be an MC. And that kind of is a long story short, or long story long still.
Hey, hey, bro, I'm glad to hear it because again, like I said, I know you for like I started thinking about and I'll be honest, one of the things that kind of put it in perspective for me was like just some of the people who passed in the last couple of years. It's kind of made me start thinking about, man, the wild part about it is all of us are, we all getting older, and some of these stories can't be told once we're gone because there may be we might be the only person that really know the details of the story. So it's imperative that if I have a platform to open the door for people to tell their story, for it to be documented, then please let's do that because there we are. Once the story about hip hop culture starts getting told, it's gonna the story is always gonna be told by the victors. So if the
Yeah,
victor doesn't rock with Ty Brew, then the victor's not going to tell Ty Brew's story in connection with hip hop in North Carolina. So now Pantha Politix Network, we will make it our responsibility to make sure those stories get told. Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah, like that. Me and Tenacious just had that conversation Monday. I was like, I didn't mean to really get in his ass. Like he took it it got taken back from when I said, look, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not talking, you're not filming yourself, you're not talking about your story, and the songs are fine, but like people can't that's a verse a minute. You can't tell your whole story in 5 albums even. So like when you're
Mm-mm.
having a conversation, you're recording it like this. So I'm with you on that 100%, and that's so the next jump would be get him on here, get Will Zay on
Yes.
here, like get while the iron's hot, while we all still talking again and stuff like that. Because that's another thing. Like, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's
Yeah.
going to happen? People are going to stop. The fire is going to be done. We've seen it. We've seen the cycles. It'll be another cycle.
Oh
Right
yeah.
now, it's people are excited. Right now, on our camp at least, people are excited. They're active, and that's it.
I think hip hop is exciting again for the first time in a while for a lot of people. So I'm glad to see it. I'm really glad to see it. So I mean, you said okay. So around 8th grade, you was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna lock in. So what
Yeah,
was your first like actual joint? What was your first thing that you actually put out for public consumption? Whether it
put
was
out for
selling
public
it out the
consumption.
trunk? Yeah.
No, it wasn't until I was in college before I put something
Mm.
out. So I was
Okay.
writing songs. Like I said, first song was 8th grade, and it was I got a funny story with that I tell to some people. Like I'm sitting there, I had got held back in the 7th grade, right? So when I got held back, even on top of all the things that are going on in this typical country high school, I got to start from ground zero. This kid. I don't have any friends at that point. And so like I remember writing the it wasn't 16 bars by any means, but it was formatted in a song, right? So I wrote it in the
Mm.
yearbook page instead of while people were signing. I really didn't have anybody, so I was writing this song. And I remember that's the one time that my pops was about to whoop my ass, but I didn't know about it till way later, like why he was really doing it. I just thought it was off the strength of he found some rap and he was like, and I thought he was okay with it, and he's coming to me like it didn't seem like he was okay with it. He wanted to get in my ass about it, and like I'm telling you, like fast forward maybe 6-7 years later, I find out like I read that thing again, and it's talking about it says pass the meth, like I'm gonna smoke meth, and like at that point I had no idea what meth
Oh.
was. I was listening. I was listening to Method Man and Wu Tang, and it was just like I was just like I knew it was something to smoke. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't have any idea what it was. And like years later, and like I still haven't
Oh man.
even gone to the point to tell him about it. Like I understand what I don't even want to open that can of worms up.
Oh, that is hilarious. Oh my goodness.
But like I was
Also,
like, and it just clicked, and so anyway, that was like the first song that I had. And then I started doing other songs, and then I put it into by 11th grade. I guess it was a public consumption, but it wasn't recorded. It was put out in like competitions and poetry competitions, because there was 3 or 4 teachers at that high school that really pushed me to keep writing it. They're like, even if people aren't ready here, we can push this to, a Chapel Hill competition and this and that. So I was
okay.
writing stuff, and it got, a couple things got published in high school magazines or whatever. But they were like, they might not be ready for recording wise. And at that point, you know, you really don't know how to record. There was maybe one studio in maybe two studios in Greensboro. I don't know about Winston, but Greensboro was the closest one. You know, I think that was right around the time that, you know, Dana was doing his stuff. And like that, there was a couple of big studios for that, but like it was, you know, inaccessible to anybody that just wanted to, you know, throw some bread in. So like I said, it wasn't until 2000. It was 2000. I was up at App State, and I connected with some folk from Hickory, because Hickory wasn't too far away. It wasn't going all the way down to Asheboro. And Hickory in the early 2000s was wild. That was a wild place. But anyway, so the connection got made up to where like this guy could only record me for a minute at a time. Like he had software and he could record me for a minute, which is a good enough for a good mean 16 and maybe a hook, if you know, depending on the BPMs, you know, just so like, so that was the first thing I put out to the world was 61 minute joints. And I just push it to App State, you know, just push it to App State, on these little CDs. Said T Cutlass was my name at that time. So it was just like just passing it to college kids, and they would rip them, put them on their computers, but never really know who the fuck it is. Just, you know, it was a lot of that process. And then after that is when it was like I would drive down to Hickory, or I would drive down to Gastonia or Winston and like try to sell them out the car at that point. But I mean, that didn't last, because I'm like my weakest point is I'm a poor salesman. I'm just a poor salesman. You know what I'm saying? Like I got good product. I got, you know, I can push it and everything. I just like, I never have been a good salesperson. So like, you know, me sitting outside, you know, these places, it just never fit right to me. You know what I'm saying? But I did do that for a little bit. Then at some points I ended up having somebody do it for me or do it with me. That kind of like, you know, is enough confidence with himself to be like, these people need it. You know what I'm saying? So, unless we went down to Myrtle Beach, it didn't give a fuck. We were selling them it didn't matter who it was. You know, people wanted to have fun there. I knew you go to a location, you know, these people want to have fun. You at the gas station, you don't know what they want. You know what I'm saying? You know, they want gas and get the fuck on.
That's the beauty of it. Absolutely. Now I know that's crazy, yo. And it's wild though, because I know when I met you, and at the time it was like it was the Ties, Ty Brew and Ty Ryder. That was the crew. You know what I'm saying? And I was really kind of blown away when I started recognizing how your mind worked in relation to your music and how you present it to people, and then even just that there's an overarching thing that goes beyond just that. And I didn't see it at first, you know what I'm saying? But it was only after observing for a while that I started realizing, wait, it's more than just this. Like, yeah, he's really good at this, but it's more to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, was the goal always, I'm gonna get really good at this and I'm gonna do this, but I see this as a conduit to do A, B, or C, or do those things just kind of evolve as you got deeper into the game?
It took me a while to realize that, but that's exactly what it was. It ended up becoming this conduit to, before I crash the fuck out, let's try to go somewhere else and use this, use what I just created from this, not genre, but this kind of medium of art, you know, go from this, use what I just did and try to go over here. And then when I'm not so burnt the fuck out from this, go back to that. And that was, it came from photography. And that, like I said, that was late when I picked that up. So when I met you was about the same time, like things were really like, it was moving fast and we were doing a lot of stuff, and I was going to Europe and I was going to China and I was going to all these places. But I had absolutely no footage. I had absolutely not even a picture. So I did a whole European tour in 2005. And the only pictures I have is me like at the end of the night with some people on the couch, or, just at the end of the night, the venue's like about to close down, just getting them in. And I was like, man, like people want this. And I didn't realize like how, bad people wanted this, or how essential it was to even push forward. Like really to this day, if I had some of these pictures with some of these people that we work with, like it would, because people want that. The outside people want that. Your fans want that. The fans will stay fans if they know that background. Like you just said, the story is that's a whole chunk of time. That story is only going to be told from me. And some people need proof. Some people do, but so that, going back to what you're saying, I noticed that I didn't have any footage. So that's when we, at a certain point, I want to say it was like 06 or 07, then we started investing in those cameras. Then we started getting those cameras out. And then it got to the point where when I get so washed up on doing shows, I'd just be like, that's why me and Liz a lot of times would just film, because I could at least, that got to that point where I could get polished up on filming. And I got really excited about filming and taking pictures. And then that kind of left music behind for a little bit.
And you can come and enjoy the show without having to worry about the normal headache that comes with being at that place for that event. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, yeah, I feel you. Absolutely.
And the headaches will never fucking stop. Because like no matter, even the one you was down here with, like the headaches were not from you at all, not from anybody on the bill, but them headaches started already. Like something's up with hip hop, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then in May, the same thing. Like I had a 4-day festival, and the one part of it that just was a headache was the hip hop part. It was just, and it wasn't because of the people we booked. It was just something was in the atmosphere that just keeps on going, and them headaches are just, and you can't leave it alone because you love it, but you can pick and choose. Like we're at the age we can pick and choose what we should, which ones that we really want to do, or that we're doing a favor for somebody, like one or the other. Like I'll gladly take on a couple headaches if I know that some of my people need this, or my people, that's going to help them out. That's fine. But yeah, them headaches, man. Else, man.
Man, well, speaking of headaches, I know I mentioned it earlier, but like, what was the catalyst behind the birth of Mightier Than the Sword, and what was that whole journey kind of like, as far as like creating Mightier Than the Sword and kind of just figuring out what the overall mission of the company was going to be?
Gotcha. So that kind of stems back to what I said about the European tour. So I had this European tour lined up as soon as I graduated App State. So I graduated App State May 2005. Man, this is wild, man. May 2005. And I had studied abroad in China that summer beforehand. And like I had all these jobs lined up from then till about when I graduated. And then in 2005, like just the world just started being different. Like it was a whole different, like the world economy was different. The things that were going on in our country. I mean, it's always something, but it was just really unique time. And like, so people were pulling their job offers to me. They were just pulling it. So I was like, I got to go to China. I knew I could get a job in China, right? So the job that I got in China was doing like crunching numbers for this company that got all their stuff from Europe. So essentially, the company set me up with meetings during the day for 3 weeks in Europe. So then I started getting on, it was MySpace then. I started getting on MySpace and trying to find out, you know how we do, get venues and gigs in Europe, try to figure that out. Well, at that time, Nas was touring, doing some kind of tour. So all the tour dates had like after parties tagged onto it. So that was an easy way to do. But what they needed is they needed a label to represent this person. So the night I graduated, I was sitting at the bar with my homeboy, like who started Scan Fam with me, which was right before Mightier Than the Sword. And we're sitting there, we're talking, and I say, look, man, I got to do something, because like just to solidify it. And then my college roommate at the time, he was like, you just create something now. Like, just create something now. They don't need to know who's running it. It can be you running it and you going over there, and you're the label head. You doing this, and so pretty much that's how Mighty and the Sword started. Was just that day, and we were talking about it because I don't remember. You remember Creep? You remember
Yes.
Creep? Yeah, like I grew up with him too. Him and his brother were up there. And Creep was talking about, I always loved Tim Burton's Batman and stuff like that. And there was this phrase that, like, I say this in a lot of interviews, but this phrase, the Joker says, the pen is mightier than the sword. And he like throws the sword and he, stabs into my man's neck on the stage. And so that's around the same time. I think it's like 89 or 90. So that's around the same time I'm really getting in like realizing what art is, film and music. So I asked my parents, I asked my mom, I said, like, what does that mean? Like, what does that phrase mean? So she broke down the pen is mightier than the sword to me. She broke it down then, and it always stuck with me. So Creep was like, man, I think you should name something like from that movie. And I was like, well, it's got to be Mightier than the Sword. It's got to be. It's got to be, because that's always to this day, that's what stuck out to me from that movie, the phrase, the everything. So at first it was Pen is Mightier, and then it just became, by the end of the night, it was just Mightier Than the Sword Records. And then it was like, it was kind of like, not a joke, but it was kind of like just to patch on to that tour so they could put something, and the logo was real simple that we did real early, and just to put it on the posters and the flyers, and just, this is Ty Brew from North Carolina, this is his label. And it started from there, and then 2 years later is when we finally dropped that first album. But that's how that started.
Man, so what was the first album that came out on Mightier Than the Sword?
On the Brink came out.
On the Brink, okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
Man,
and that
you got a pretty expansive catalog, bro.
Man, sometimes I look like, really, we were trying to calculate this whole 20 years. It's 100 albums, not me, but it's 100 albums we dropped, a little bit over 100 albums. Some of them are compilations, but there's a strong, at least half of that is legitimate albums. It's just, it blows my mind, sometimes when you think about the amount of work that we're doing, like you just said earlier, like you do it so fast and you do it so much, and it's not easy on you. It was easier then. Excuse me. There's no way I could do that shit now. Like,
man, man, I go crazy trying to keep up with the young me right now. I'd be like, boy, sit your ass down somewhere.
I try. Sometimes I'll get in that groove and I'll try, man. It'll be a week long recuperation process. A week long.
Easy, yeah, easily. That's, man. You gotta now. On the Brink, okay, that was like 07. So like, how far from when you dropped On the Brink? And okay, before we ain't even got to do that, because I know it was right around the same time. It wasn't that very far apart that the projects dropped. How did the whole concept? How did Brown Bag Special come together? I didn't get to ask Eddie that actually.
Okay, man. So On the Brink came out actually at least a year after I think I met you. I think I met you at the very beginning of 6.
Yep.
I think, but I had seen you in maybe 4 when I met Blaze. I think in 4 I saw you, like we just dapped each other up and that was it. But like meeting you was later. So, all right. So we're working actually. To tell that story of Brown Bag would tell it right if I start with about that time with Jeff's Bucket Shop. So pardon me for getting long-winded. Is it good?
Oh no, you good, man. Right. No.
So because I'm gonna get long-winded because it doesn't make sense to kind of start right there. So to start with
Jeff's Bucket Shop, by the way.
Yeah, I missed that place.
A lot of dope hip-hop shit happened there, but oh my god.
Wow. Me and AP had a great like that's how me and him started connecting, because we sat there for probably 2 hours after they shut down the bar. But anyway, so coming back from China, like that was a very short 6-month employment. I only had a 6-month visa. So by the beginning of 06, I was home. I think I flew on the flight January 1st, 2006. So I was back home in the very beginning of 6, and Asheboro was dry. There was no nightlife. It was dead. There was nothing to do. And I had just came off, like I was doing a weekly residence in Shanghai and Suzhou. So I was doing music weekly. So when I came home, I was like, I can't stop that momentum at all. I can't stop it. And I can't do anything in I can't do anything in Asheboro. I look at Greensboro and I'm like, that's 30 minutes. I look at Winston, that's an hour. Still in 06, there wasn't a whole lot popping in Winston. And then I was like, the best place to go would be Charlotte. I need to just take that hour trip and go to Charlotte. So I linked up with Jonathan Coleman, and started going to, he started booking me on poetry nights. So I started doing poetry nights because my spoken word, I still like, I pride that just as high as I do my hip hop. So I was doing spoken words, and then he was also booking me. Well, he wasn't booking. He was just like, after this, I know a open mic down the road in Charlotte. So like I was doing essentially two shows a night, sometimes 3-4 times a week in Charlotte. And I was recording out of my pop shop at the time, just cheap equipment, recording, making really good songs. Ty Ryder was still lacing me with beats, Wester for now. He was lacing me with beats. We got connected with somebody in Philadelphia to lace me with some good beats. And then B-Star, I met B-Star and Rozzy at the bucket shop. They were sending me beats. So I got a couple projects out that I was pushing every time I went to the bucket shop. And so Ruger hit me up through the internet about how you getting booked in Charlotte. And I was like, we'll figure that out. I said, we'll figure that out. But I had seen him previously at the Wu-Tang concert, because somehow we got in Winston. I think that was the night we weren't all together that night. I didn't know you then.
Oh yeah, nah. I don't think we didn't know each other then.
The Winston, but we do have a picture outside that same venue. If I don't, same venue, just a different night. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so I get up there and can do, like, they give me one song on the Wu-Tang show, but then they cut it off in the middle. So, and then I think they did the same thing with Ruger. We had just talked about this. So I met him there. I told him, yeah, we had met at that venue for the Wu-Tang show. And he was wanting to get to Charlotte. So anyway, I hit Jay Coleman up, Jonathan Coleman. I say Jay Coleman, and people automatically, I gotta say Jonathan Coleman now. People think J. Cole. So Jonathan Coleman, I hit him up, and I was like, are you still wanting to do my birthday bash? And he was like, yeah, I said, can we bring Ruger in? Let's do Ruger bringing him into Charlotte. So Ruger comes to Charlotte. Ill Pose comes to Charlotte. I want to say maybe even DP or Solinsky came with them. They do a whole set. They actually see me live. Like, they see me in the bucket shop live doing my stuff. And they're like, at least Ruger and Mincello, Philly, somebody else is like, they're like, we got to work with this dude. And then they found out I was in Asheboro instead of in Charlotte. And I said, here's 2 of my projects. Listen to them. The next day, Ruger calls me. He's like, your shit is so great, but it sounds like shit. It sounds like shit. I said, I agree with you 100%. He said, I said, I'm doing it myself. I said, point me to the right direction, man. He gave me JJ's number, and it was bam. It was done. It was done. Like, I was in there the next night. We recorded Machine. It was like really quick. They were like, you need to be in a Iconoclast crew really quick. It just moved really, really, really quick. And then we started going on the road together. We went to, that's how I got to know E, the Mad Assassin, a little bit. We went up to New York, did the show with Chuck D and Dana Dane and them. And then we started like just like the kind of the pact was, we're just gonna, like, if there's anything we're working on, let's do verses together. And I know at that point, Ruger was really trying to work with a lot of people in Greensboro. Like, he was really trying to work with people around there. And a lot of people weren't even weren't even having it, which he got burnt out pretty quick. And then, later on, people like, I wish I would have messed with that opportunity. So every time somebody said no to him, I was like, let's do a record. Let's do a record. Every time he had a spot, let's do a record. For, long story short, that's how that went. And then we were like, let's just come together and do something. And that's when Philly was hot. I got another opportunity in China, which I thought they would both be down for, but they really didn't want to move. They didn't want to move out of the United States at all. They didn't want to even move for a couple of weeks or whatever. They weren't interested in it. But I said we needed something that was more somebody else kind of puts it together, produces it, not the beats, but like an executive producer. So that's when JJ stepped in, and he was like, this is the format you do. Brown Bag will be you and Philly and Ruger, and we'll put this 12-track song or album together. And then that became like the focal point for a good 6 months. At this point, 6 months was a long time back then, but now 6 months is like this. So we were just really, no kids, not really married, just going at it. So we did, we knocked that out pretty quick. We got some heavy hitters on there, and JJ made a lot of the beats. And that's how that, and then we just started getting booked as Brown Bag, and we got booked as Brown Bag for a while. And then Ruger was definitely want to get his solo stuff back into the mix, which is understandable. So at that point, he started doing that. And it's the same time that I was about to move back to China. I've been back and forth a whole lot. But I had a good opportunity in China music-wise, and Brown Bag was like that perfect thing. Like, I could send Brown Bag to any venue in China, Shanghai, Hong Kong, it didn't matter. Like, they wanted me there just from the strength of that one song alone. And so that was kind of the catalyst on why we did that, or why I did that, because I knew that it would reach more than my quote unquote conscious hip hop that I was doing at that time. Now it's evolved to something so much more, but at that point it was, me and Ryder were Westerford was just, backpack at that point. That was it. That's all we did.
No doubt.
And then, with Ruger, I kind of opened up my mind a little bit more with the direction we would go. And I would go eventually, even now to my career now, just like opening my mind up to different non-authentic hip hop shit.
Oh yeah, I feel you. Yeah, it was weird because actually when I put out Shooting Stars 2, somebody was like, man, I was rocking till it got to like the third song. And I was like, what happened on the third song? It was like, well, it just sounds different. And I was like, yeah, but like, did you listen to what I was saying? Like, it sounded different. It sounded different because it sounds like right now, but it's still me. Like, if you hear what I'm saying, it's still me at the core of it all. And that's the one thing I will say for certain that I've noticed. As I was, every time you drop something, I tune in every time. I'm always tuned in. Like, I be trying to tell people, like, I know I don't always say stuff. A lot of times I was like, dog, I'm really not on social media as much as y'all think. A lot of times I'll schedule some shit to drop and just let it fly. For when it's supposed to fly, I don't be there. But like, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes I don't say things in the moment, but like, I be locked in. So when it drop and I get a notification from Spotify, from Bandcamp that something new coming, I'm coming to hear it.
Nice.
You've been consistent in the quality of the music that you make, for one. Also, though, one of the things that I think, and I think this stands out amongst most of the people in the circle that cultivated us, there's been a constant progression and evolution with your pen as well. It's not like you just, you know what I'm saying? I gotta ask, because I know that it's something that I think I personally have battled with. Has there ever been a point where, especially with some of the layoffs that you've taken for various reasons, from music to do other things, has there ever been a point where you hop back in the pool and you start swimming, and you're like, man, I don't know if my muscles remember how to do this. You know,
Yeah,
oh, maybe
absolutely.
I took too long off. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man. That was there. I took a big hit mentally in 15, like a big hit. Me and my wife both did, but like same year we got married. And I would try to get, I would try to write, I would try to get in there, I would try to vibe. Like it was almost like I would put a beat on that I knew I loved. I knew I loved a year ago, 2 years ago. And I had stuff in my mind for it. I might have had a hook already for it or some bars. And I knew that it would be, that was my happy place. So I put it on, and it was like I was battling that. It was like I didn't feel that same feeling like I did. And it was not a writer's block at all. It was a mental block. It was, there's a lot of trauma that lay, like there's a lot of stuff we'll get into at some point, but there was a lot of trauma that was going on during that last stint of being in China that made me to where, like, I wish I wouldn't have stopped doing this, so it would be more of a brain, like more of a, more you could do this in your sleep type stuff. Because the more you do it,
Right.
like the more the more you do it, the more you can, you can do it, no matter what. Like if you're running, riding a bike, don't free throw shots. Free throw shots is a perfect example. It don't matter if you're pissed off or you're happy as hell. As long as you got that repetition, you're gonna hit them shots.
Absolutely.
And that's, and no matter what you are, you could be, people are screaming in the stadium. Like you get to that point, you're a professional. And I knew at that point I wasn't a professional at it. And really it took almost 2 full years to be like, I got the pen back. And even then, like if you can go back and you can almost hear it, because the first song that I did that I felt like it was a comfortable verse is the Good Day remix with Ruger and Rozzy. And you can't see it in the video, but you can hear it in the recording, how it sounds like I'm almost scared. You know what I'm saying? Like it sounds like, damn, I don't think I should be doing this. And I was confident in the verse. I just wasn't confident in my life or my delivery at the time. There was just a lot of things battling, and that's like, I think that kind of answers the question, but it's kind of like more than the question you asked. So
Oh yeah, I feel
that
it.
would be the only time. And then really when COVID hit, and like everybody's got a COVID story. When COVID hit, I was like, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. That's when I got the free throws back. That's when I'm like,
Oh yeah.
at this point, I already know tomorrow morning I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna write a mean verse for Westerford. We're gonna get in the studio, we're gonna record it. Like I did, I don't even have a second, like I'm second guessing my mind. Like I don't even know what I'm gonna write. I know we got the beat, we got the hook. That's all I need to know now.
No
But
doubt.
I don't know how long that's gonna last. I don't
You
know.
gotta ride them waves, man. You gotta ride them waves when they come. Because I mean, like, and I tell anybody that listen. When I was in my 20s, you could wake me up out of my sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning. Like I needed 16, and I can write it, no
Yeah,
questions asked.
yeah,
You
yeah.
do that to me now, we're gonna fight. And then after I wake back up, whenever that is, then maybe I'll get you a 16. But like,
Right.
it ain't like and I don't think that it in a lot of cases I don't necessarily call it writer's block so much as I call it I think we become better as MCs as we get older because we learn better how to analyze what we're going to say before we say it. And I think that's what keeps us evolving as MCs as we
Yeah.
get older. There was and I'm glad you brought up China and that particular period in particular, because I did want to talk about that just a little. And we ain't got to, don't go anywhere you don't feel comfortable going. But when you came back, we were all really excited. Ty's home, yo, it's up. You know what I'm saying? Like Ty's back, let's get it. And then like I started realizing like I can't get in touch with him. Like I'm trying, but I can't get in contact with him.
Right.
And it was quite a while after you came back before I actually saw you and got a
Yeah.
chance to talk to you. And I'll admit the time that when I finally saw you, I think we were at a spot. I think it might have been your first time or one of your first times getting back on stage. And I came because I was like, oh, Ty's rocking, I'm going. And we spoke when I first got there, and I was like, something's off.
Right.
I mean, that's Ty. Don't get me wrong. That's my man, 50 grand, but something's not right. And then you started performing when you got up and you performed. I think you might have only done a record or two. But even that, I was like, his muscle memory is carrying him through this, but that's not right.
Yeah.
And there was a point when you were gone, when Liz called me and was like, look, we got to find a way to keep Source Saturday going. And I was like, if Ty wants to keep Source Saturday going, then we're gonna keep it going. That's all it is to it. When you came back, I could tell you had been through something because it took a while to talk to you. And I know that wasn't the plan. Like it was like, as soon as I get back, boom, okay, cool. Re-entering this same sphere where you had cultivated so much love and so much community, you know what I'm saying, amongst these people, amongst all of these creative souls that we know. Like how awkward was that spin to come back and then because of things that had occurred, not to feel as secure or comfortable in that space. And then still because of your commitment to what you do, having to find a way to power through that to get back to being creative and rejoining that cycle. Like I don't know. Like I've wondered about it often, but of course, you know, life keeps moving. You got past it, and we kept going, so everything just kept going. But like, you know,
that's it, awkward. It was the most awkward point in my life because a lot of the stuff I couldn't immediately speak about, and like really, it's been 10 years. And I just started feeling comfortable speaking about it. We spoke about it on stage at our anniversary joint in May. I've been speaking about it in conversation. I'm linked back up with Metaphor. I talked to him about it.
Gotta get him on here too.
Yeah. Reason being is because when we first got back, like I said, this is the top of 15. And things like I started noticing these increments of 10, and that's became a really critical part in my mindset of thinking about these increments of 10 years. Like it was 05 when I was done with China the first time, and it was 15 when I was done with it the last time. And I mean, like I said, it was January 1st of 06, but it was still, I was done in December 31st of 05. I was done with it then, and then I became done with it in 15. There was a lot of things that I couldn't speak on. There's a lot of things that, like I said, I'm just now talking about. And I'll definitely will be talking about it more and more as I get, get my, I don't know, proper way to say it and things like that. So awkward was really the best word I could use. It was awkward to the max. Liz was trying to help me a whole lot. There were times when I could not get in touch with anybody from, like, if I was in China, I couldn't contact anybody. Couldn't contact my parents, couldn't contact, my family. And, essentially, this is kind of break it down in a vague enough analogy, or not analogy, a vague enough way to where I feel still safe with it. So you remember when I was first dating Megan, I bring her up to the, Haynes Mall. We would kick it when you was the bartender. We would kick it because I always wanted her to see like who was a part of the label, who was actually my friends and things like that. So like I made sure she knew and at least was in a conversation with everybody that it was really special to me. And she was the only person that came to visit me in China. So she ended up coming there. And so she would be able to be there for like a month at a time, 30 days at a time, get her visa, travel visa, and then come back home. And then that went on for a while. And then when I proposed to her, I told the people I was working for that I needed to have her. We wanted to do a ceremony in China, a ceremony at home. And I needed to stop with this, 3 month. At that point, it was 3 month visa, so it was 90 days. I needed to stop with the 3 month visa. We needed to get her a worker's visa. So she essentially quit her job as working as a nurse for umpteen years. As soon as she was out of pretty much high school, she was working as a nurse. So she had tenure, and she gave that up. Everything was fine. Got her to China, and then they started fighting, not getting her visa, not making her welcome like they said, not giving her the job that they promised her, and like at that point, I just started seeing like the crumblings of my relationship with my employer, and essentially my employer was, anything in China is pretty much, it's a government thing. It doesn't matter who it is. It's a communist country. And then like I started really seeing an ugly side of China and what they were, and the people I were working with, just kind of like it just the veil was unleashed, and I kind of I started seeing how dangerous things were, how naive I was, how like I was in this situation where I felt like I'm the king of the castle, I'm untouchable, and how like I was for a while, and then all of a sudden it didn't matter, if I just gave a little bit of resistance, it was like we were, it was done. It could have got stupid. Thankfully we got home, and we got back here, and essentially with that, I was supposed to be there till 2020. That was the goal. And coming back every 6 months and, making sure. So like there was a couple different levels of awkwardness because a lot of y'all really didn't know what was going on. And some people were like, why are you back home? Because they thought I was still having work to do, which I essentially did. And I kind of like, we went to Europe then too, right after we got home, and I was just trying to figure it out in my mind, like how am I gonna, how is this gonna work? How's any of this gonna work? So I never got a cell phone when I got back home. They had confiscated any kind of thing that they like my Facebook. They had blocked it out of there, because essentially that's illegal in China at that point. It still is. They hacked a lot of stuff to where like I couldn't access it for many years. Like I can't get to some of my emails now. Finally, I think it was 19. I got back on Facebook, but Facebook was done for a while. And then I just decided not to have a phone. I decided that we decided we were actually going to get married that year. And I didn't even I'm talking about people that are super close to me that had no idea I even got married, man. Like it was such a strange time, man. It was such a strange time. We had it to where like we were just trying to be safe and be like, there was no phones allowed at the wedding, no drinking at the wedding. I mean, it was just like there were so many things that went to a point where it just like I just mentally shut down. And the only person that was really that I could confide in was Megan for a while.
And that was because she, she's a part of it too. So she got, it's not like you're talking something that's foreign. She'll understand exactly where you're coming from. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. And she like just the positions, like really the positions I put her in that she had no idea she was in haunts me to this day. Like I randomly a couple months ago, I just texted her. I was like, man, you have no idea, but I'm sorry that I put you in these positions because I thought we were safe and I thought you were safe, and looking back, we were not safe, but we're here, and like still, still some of this stuff just gets to me. I open up completely to some people finally, but I'm gonna run that back to where we kind of got back home, and we had just got married, and I finally tell a couple people that are very close to me everything. Like every fucking thing. Like within 6 months, 7 months, I tell them everything. And it's kind of like a joking matter and laughing and saying that shit. What the fuck are you talking about? Why are you moping around like this? And I'm like, shit, at that point, I even shut down even more because there's some people that I really feel like I could tell this stuff to. And I'm not saying they got to fix everything, but just got to be like, what just some kind of shoulder, some kind of just like hey buddy, it's gonna we're just gonna get better, so shit like that.
It's almost the equivalent of like when a woman tells you I'm pregnant. Like if you don't have the exact right response to that, it could be, and like, and the person may not mean anything by the way they respond to it, but it's just the matter of you're not, maybe because I took so long to say something, I don't know what the reason is, but you're not embracing the like the actuality, the true gravity of what I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? And how that's impacted me still to this day. Man, yeah, I knew it, and the while, and I guess it kind of fucked me up to a degree because like you came back in 15, and I ended up leaving in 16, in May of 2016. So like, you know, we had just kind of got back to, I just kind of got back to seeing you with a little bit more regularity, right before I was about to go, and I was like, man, I'm about to leave. Like I'm not gonna be here. You know what I'm saying? But you know, there's some things that I know that I can count on. There's certain things in this world that I count on like clockwork. And you are one of those things that I count on like clockwork. Me and Eda Matassas was talking about it, and I was like, bro, you know something? I was like, out of all the people that I've met in the music business, like, I was like, I know a lot of people from the music business. I can't say I have a lot of friends in the music business. I was like, Tyru's one of the few friends that I have in the music business. Like, and I say that because we met each other because of the music business. I mean, I think our friendship way beyond that at this point, but that's how we met. That's how we met each other. You are consistent not only in your effort, also in your quality, but also, and this is one of the things that I've always appreciated about you. You have one of the biggest hearts I've ever witnessed on a human in my entire life. And you taking chances on people with my head in the sword that some of us was like, what is he doing? You know what I'm saying? But you know,
some of that was right though. Some of that was right.
No doubt.
Yeah, I just had to learn, man.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. Hey,
that's straight from my pops, man. I give him that 100%. I've been in a rare position where, you know, that father's been around, you know, my whole life. You know, some bickering and stuff like that, but like most of my friends, they don't have that. You know, he came down here with nothing, and he built a I want to say successful because it's always a struggle, but like he's got a business, and I've just seen him with like, excuse me, who he gives chances to, like how he speaks to his customers, and when he works on cars, stuff like that. And you know, even though I really don't appreciate the full scope of Jehovah's Witnesses, there's a lot of love that's embraced with that, and that combination. Like I always think of whatever I got from that was just the compassion for people. And you know, it is to a fault sometimes, but at the end of the day, like it's, you know, it's the way I move. And it, you know, I've got a lot more of a gate up now with the lock on, where it's not as, you know, it's, you know, Marshall pretty much is the last one that I wanted to put some stock in. And you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a gift and a curse. You know, that's a cliche thing to say, but it is, man. I sleep all right at night. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, and I'm glad you said Marshall, and this is something too that I was discussing with someone recently. It might have been Remy I was talking to about this. And I was like, man, you know what's weird is remembering the people who were there in the scene, active, like when we started, like when not started, but like when we first started, you know, started making our own marks, you know, and seeing some of those same people no longer being a part of, not just being a part of like rapping, like, but they just like, you just don't see them anymore. Like they're still around, they don't come to shows, they don't really and it makes you wonder, you know what I'm saying, sometimes what's some of the motivations for people being around were, well, even more so, what were some of their motivations for walking away? With that in mind, in 20 years time, what has been like some of the, give me like 3 highlights from the first 20 years of Mightier in the Sword?
3 highlights. The first one was when On the Brink was like a finalist in the Independent Music Awards. That was like a really, you know, as artists, as people, we all search for that validation, you know, which people say don't. I mean, that's deep rooted in us as primal urges, you know, as humans that are all needed of nurture and nature both. So, you know, I put that out there, And when we put On the Brink out there, it was actually supposed to go on Jonathan Coleman's label and not Mighty and the Sword. But he told me that we didn't need 80 minutes on a song. Like back then, I was trying to put 80 minutes on a CD because that's what you could fit. And I wanted that to be full to the brim. It didn't matter on the brink, it filled up. It didn't matter if somebody listened to it. Whenever I knew at least that foresight, if anything ever pops off, people will listen to the whole thing. They might skip through it at first, but the more we do, the more we work, people gonna want to listen to it all. So we did that, and it wasn't like a friendly, and it wasn't like a hostile separation. But I was just like, I'm gonna do it, and we're gonna put it out, without you. So we did that. I started being my own PR guy, started using my degrees from App to do my press releases, get it all tight, neat and tidy. And then it got OK Player reached out to me to get signed. They wanted to sign me early as hell. And I looked at the paperwork and I looked at everything, and I just, for some reason, like, this is one of those moments where like I look back and it's like I wish I would. I wish I would. I'm glad I didn't, but I really still wish I would have, just to see how that would have went. Because now at this point we still have everything that we own it all, but we're not making any hand over fist money. So basically, when that came out, On the Brink, when OK Player wanted to sign me, they at least did a review, and they published it pretty big. It got into magazines, and they put it on their website. And then that's when the IMAs got a hold of, like, they were like, they send us a disc. So they sent us I sent them the disc, and I look at that, and I'm researching them and figuring out if this is a legit place. And they have this whole, like, and these are things that I wish I'd had still. So they would send little clips of like Tom Waits, Snoop Dogg. They listened to the record and they gave input and they sent it to me. And then it became a finalist of the album of the year, right? And I remember, like, when I got the calls and the emails of that, I was like, man, this is incredible. That's the highlight. That's the highlight. That's one of them right there. And I don't have the voicemails. And that's when JJ made me, at that point, because this is like after that, not after that, before that, Perry Smith I was with him a lot. I got connected with him quick, and we were hanging out. Homeboy from Doc from PM Dawn. Like we were really close, and we were recording all these voicemails, but they were getting like pretty full. Like it was like we couldn't record them fast enough. So JJ was making me record these voicemails. Never got the ones, like, never recorded the one from Tom Waits or Snoop Dogg, or I think it was like Blink 182, one of the guys. But anyway, yeah, it was like mind blowing at this point that we just dropped opportunities, but I still have the stories, and it's good. It was the runner up. To me, I was devastated. It was like incredible high, incredible low. It was like I fucking lost, But looking back, that still is a highlight.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
that still is a highlight. And man, there's a third one, but I want to get a second one. I want to think of this just a second.
No doubt. Man, it's been an eventful 20 years. Like it's just to think about it. When you put that post up at first, it was like it's been 20 years, and I thought about it, and I was like, damn, it really has been 20 fucking years. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Time is flying, man. Like this is insane.
I guess I'll bring one really, really current, because, like, I'm gonna start thinking about this is when I'm gonna lose sleep. This is when I'm not gonna be able to sleep. I'm gonna at 2:00 in the morning. I'm gonna text you. I'm like, hey, damn, I should have said this. But anyway,
I know what it is.
The second one is recent. It was in the spring, right? And I've had this opportunity to go back to Boone a whole lot this year, and the first reason I went up is because I didn't touch bases with something else. But anyway, I met the art teacher I was working with at the school that I taught at when I moved back from China in 17. So 17 was kind of when I started finding myself again. I stopped doing music, and I became a high school teacher again, and I was committed to community events. That's when I started really getting back into activism and civil rights, and getting back into like Relay for Life, cancer awareness, stuff like that. So like that kind of helped me like find where I was lost at. And so I met the art teacher at that time. I met her. We kicked it off pretty good, and she's one of the fastest up and coming speed painters in the nation. So she'll paint a painting upside down, and then she'll flip it up in like 30 seconds or a minute or 2 minutes, and you'll see a whole painting. So so in February she got an opportunity to go to Boone at a basketball game, and she painted the mascot upside down and flipped it, and she just hired me to go film it and document everything, so she's got content. So she did that for that. Then she did it again for a baseball game. And then I remember the athletic promoter and the people from marketing are sitting there talking to her, and they're asking her like, we want you back for football, and then they said the magic thing, whatever song you want to play, you play it. So then I text Westerfer. I'm like, look, man, I don't even tell him anything that I'm thinking about. I'm like, look, give me some energetic stuff. I've got an opportunity. Then I start talking about football. I'm like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this football song. So within 2 weeks, I go to Livewire, record a football song for App State, which is both me and Westford went there. So it's just me and him working on it. Record just a verse and a hook to it, and then they play it at a football game. And that's a second hot, like just being in a football, and then him coming up too. Like he hadn't been to Boone in so long, maybe 10 years. I'm texting him. I said, you gotta come up if you can. Just come up. Let's be a part of the moment together. So she's painting. They're playing the song. Wes is on the field with me, and it's just like that moment. Like that is that second moment for the highlight. You're hearing it, and they're about to start playing football. You're on the field in the corner, and honestly, we are going to release that song tomorrow. Like it's finally getting like released, and we just need to get some legs so we can actually talk to the, for them to play it more than just that. But no matter what, we're going back in November, and they're going to play it again in November, and I'll probably that'll probably be a bigger game. I think they're playing Ole Miss maybe, or I don't know. But anyway, they're playing. Yeah. It's going to be shown. Like that was the second.
Man, that's fire too. Like that's being a sports fan. Like I always thought about that. Man, what if they play my record at a game, either at my college or anywhere? You know what I'm saying?
Did you do a Carolina Panther song?
I did do one. Yeah, I did it. I don't know what the funny thing about that is I did the record and I have no idea what happened with it. So they might have played it and I have no idea. Like,
I thought you did. Oh,
I forgot about that.
Look, I'm glad. Like I'm gonna curb over here, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm glad you ain't talking to me much about sports, because when the Hornets left, I stopped with sports altogether. Oh, wow. I still like. I don't even know if App wins or loses for a couple days, and that's like my hardest. Like I gave up on sports when they went to New Orleans, man. And I lost all the love in it, man. I was like, I hope you don't ask me some shit about sports.
Oh shit!
Ask me no shit, because like you can catch me. I'll wear a Dodgers hat, or I'll wear like a Phillies jersey, and people are like, oh, I don't know anything about it.
Nah, I just like the shirt, man.
if it was 2000 and before, well, about 2004 and before, I know about it. But like, don't ask me nothing else.
Man, it's been a minute. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's been a minute. Oh man, I gotta ask you the question that every artist hates for me to ask them. but I'm gonna ask you because I feel like that the response is gonna be hilarious. So you got like I was just talking about the depth of your catalog. First of all, you and Scientist been working together for a really long time, and y'all make really dope music together. I just want to put that out there. But if somebody was to say, "Hey, man, listen, I don't got a whole bunch of time right now. I need you to play me one song to tell me who you are, and if I like it, I'll listen to the rest of it when I get where I'm going." What
Okay.
one song are you going to play for them to tell them who Taboo is?
I got two. It's hard. Like I would say, I'd say Legacy. Like I'd say Legacy with that. Like that's the one. But if you want to hear some, that authentic hip hop would be a Rise of the Beast. But like Legacy would be. I wrote it at a point where it just it was a good representation of who I am. Like even in the video, it's a family video. So you get to see me with my family at that point, and then you get to hear a really dope. You get to hear a mean 16, and you get to hear one that's kind of about the family. So you get a little bit of both. You get that heartfelt where you get to know me, and then you get a good 16.
No doubt, absolutely. Okay. Hey, okay. You probably answered that faster than anybody in the history of Side Barz podcast. I'm trying to tell you, that's
look,
crazy.
it's fresh on my mind. Will Zay asked that question about 3 or 4 weeks ago. He asked me to send him 5 songs, so that's why I did it so quick. It was fresh. He said because he's trying to catch up on the everything he's been missing on. So I sent him 5, and that was he's
close to the machine.
he is, man. And I think anyway, I didn't get a 3. I didn't get the third highlight.
Oh yes, what's the third
before I forget, the third one was when we went to the IMAs and actually won. So we went to the IMAs in 2016, and that was one of the last years they had it because right at COVID they couldn't stay above ground. But they got so much power and strength and momentum that it was at the Lincoln Center in New York City. So me and Tenacious, I said, Tenacious, I got a good feeling because it was with the TNT project, Taboo and Tenacious, Dope as MCs. I said, I got a good feeling about this because I reached out to them when I moved back home. I was like, look, I've got some new stuff. How do I submit because I'm not on your radar anymore? And they were like, just send it to us and we'll listen to it. So they sent it to us and they started talking to us about like, we're going to be a finalist. Come up there if you can. Record a freestyle, like do it like the stereotypical award show. So we did that. We went with Odell Atrocity. He recorded us doing an interview and recorded us doing a freestyle, sent it up there, and I was like, T, I think I've got a really good feeling about this. We need to go up there. So he had to talk his wife into it. It was easy to talk Megan into it because we didn't have no kids. He talked his wife into it, and we went up there, and man, we beat Master Ace, man. Hip hop album of the year. Master Ace when he came out with I can't remember. It was the one with his like a graduation cap on. I think I can't remember because he started hitting with so many quick ones in a row.
Falling Season, I think was the name of it. Falling Season.
I think so. And that was, and then we had like that day was another one of those full circle Mighty in the Sword moments where it wasn't just me, it was me and somebody else that was there, and like being able to show somebody like what we can actually achieve. And like the highlight was not really beating them out. The highlight was going across the street to this like immaculate bar. Like they had the after party. It was an immaculate bar. Like it was something that you would see in kind of, I don't know, any kind of like Hotel Artemis. I don't know if you've seen that movie. That's like what I think about. Just really like swanky. It just really like New York, uptown Manhattan. Just really like to the like perfect. And T gets up there, and just with his voice, he's up there, and in his voice and his character like kind of shuts everybody up. I don't remember what he says. He shuts his, like, and we get 2 shots of Glenfiddich, and he just gives a cheer to everybody in that bar. And like people are lit, like it's like you could hear a pin drop. They're listening to him. He's commanding the room, and he's just celebrating whoever was in there just winning, us winning. And that's another thing. We never recorded that, but everything like that just did the shot. And like that, that's the third highlight. It's just being in New York with him taking control. And like he still talks about it to this day. But at that moment, it was just something for him. You know, he just another team moment, you know. So
that's one of them moments, man, that you like, man, one of them things that you like, you just sit there. You know, the funny thing is this, and I know that you can relate to this. You've done so many things and traveled and been to all the places and done the shows and dealt with the bum promoters and the cool promoters and cool fans and the dodo head fans, all of that. But sometimes you'll be sitting and you'll have a thought that'll flash through your head and you'll just chuckle to yourself and everybody's like, what's so funny? And you like, oh, nothing. You would have had to been there. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to tell people that, but like you really would have had to been there. For those who don't know, one of, and I think I said it earlier, but one of Ty Bruce's strongest elements to me is his live performance. I think you're a great live performer. I think you control the stage very well. Like how, and I know that like our eras are a little separate just because of the age difference, but coming through the pipeline, especially coming from Asheboro and being probably one of the few
right
who were actually pursuing it to the degree that you were, then to go to Boone. And I don't know how active the hip hop scene was at App State, but I can imagine y'all were probably some of the more serious people making waves in music. Like how vital did you take the aspect of the live performance? Like how vital was that? Like,
man, it was the lifeline for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you saying that right now kind of makes me think back, because right before you even went live, you were talking about like things you got to shave off, and like I don't like it anymore. I don't like the live shit anymore. I don't. I mean, I estimate I've done at least 2,000, maybe 2,200 live performances in my life. And that shit kind of gets old to me. That passion gets, so it was early on, it was a very big light. It was like the main thing. It was because I wasn't getting that quality when I was recording in the studio. I was getting shitty quality for 10 years. So like I knew like it was like that, like you taking a vacuum cleaner out and instant gratification. You got a mic on, your audience is there, you get to see what they're, you get to see your MC at that point. So you get to see it immediately. And that was so good for a long time. And I'm losing it, and I've lost it pretty much. Like I just don't appreciate that part of my career anymore at all.
Where do you think the disconnect started?
Well, I guess subconsciously and for real. When I started seeing my films on the screen, it replaced it. It almost replaced it completely, and I never even thought about that till now. Like when I start seeing that, like it's just like it's the same feeling, but it's different, and that's like I'd rather that feeling at this point than to get on stage. And like, because I'm gonna also say this is another one of my weaknesses is memorization. Like, I don't. It's like I'm one and done. Like I write it, I record it. Like and some people really feel like that's such an important part of the culture. To me, how I work, it's not that important to me. Because I'd much rather write 5 songs and 5 verses instead of trying to memorize the one I just did. Maybe that memorization will come later. It's not like I don't want to. It's just like I want to use this time efficiently and write more. And what happens then is you got that domino effect, and you got that backlog of hundreds of songs that you don't. You know, so that's why I stick
Man.
to those ones. Like I usually stick to the ones from hardcore hip hop because I know them like that. You know, and
that makes sense. Yeah.
you know, I know them like that, and like, most of them I don't. Like I tried to a couple times, and like it didn't like it. I don't want it enough. You know, it really comes down to that. I want something else more than I want that.
I feel it. Yeah. Okay.
And,
So that brings me to another point, and this wasn't even a question that I planned on asking, but now that we're talking, and it reminds me of a conversation I had with Edom Mad Assassin. Pardon me, probably about, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago. And we were talking, and I was mentioning to him that after the show one night, I was leaving the club, and I was walking through the parking lot, and there was these 4 kids that I know I saw them inside the show, and they were over having a freestyle cipher. And I said, so I walked over and I started freestyling with him. He was like, "You did what?" I was like, "I walked over and started freestyling with him." He was like, "Why?" I was like, because I love to do that. And he was like, "Man, I can't remember the last time I got in a freestyle cipher. It's been that it's been that long that I can't tell you when it happened." And I was like, "Wow." But he's not the first person to tell me that over time, especially being, recording records and performing records and doing the business and all of the other shit, that part of it starts to lose its luster to you just a bit.
well, I'm going to tell
Do you
you
share
this.
that sentiment?
It does, but freestyling, I will never stop doing that. Like that's a whole nother. That's something that I understand what he's saying with not wanting to do that because that is definitely matched up with what I just said.
No doubt.
But like every Monday we've been freestyle. Like we just put on beats and we freestyle. I mean, I can't like if there was a session, if I knew who it was, I ain't going out there if it's like some random kids though. And like you said, if you saw them in the club earlier,
Oh yeah.
yeah. And that we ain't got the energy to get into something that might be might be
Might turn
bad
into some
these
other
days.
shit. Yeah. Might turn into some other
But
shit. Yeah.
yeah, I would still do that. Like I find a lot of passion and love for freestyling still, but that's
Oh, that's dope.
performance based stuff now. And T keeps me sharp because he always wants to freestyle, and it usually ends
Oh
up
yeah.
just me and him freestyling. You know, we're staying in some really heavy contact, no pun intended, with Jay Bryant still in still. I don't
Yo,
even
I
know why
can't
that
remember the
popped up.
last time that is crazy that you said that, and immediately the flash was like, you know how in the movie where something happened and it triggers somebody, and all of a sudden they start seeing all these flashes from a point in
Yeah,
their life they couldn't remember. As soon as you
right.
said heavy contact, it was like boom, 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 and I was like, oh shit, yeah, heavy contact, absolutely. Yo, that is wild, man.
Yep, yep. So we've been speaking of that. You need to see him if you haven't seen him yet. See
I haven't
him
seen it yet. No, I'm definitely gonna check it out.
because there's moments in there that where he's in there and it does exactly what you're saying. Like it does a really good job of flashing back to certain memories in his life, and it just like that's a really perfect.
Oh
And
man,
yeah, that's a perfect. And Wayans, man, he is so good in that. I've
man,
not
he's
really ever
he's
seen
he's
him in a role like that. I know we're switching over, but like go see him.
I intend. I mean, because I'm an actor too, so like I've been I always, as a matter of fact, I have an audition in a couple of hours. Yeah,
Nice.
it's just crazy. So yeah, just trying to get back to it, man. I because music is my first love. When I first got here, like my main focus was, okay, I know what else I want to do, but I got to get the music rolling. Like,
Yeah.
what I'm saying, I ain't from here. Let me plant my flag. Um, but now that I have opportunities to do that in other ways, like I still love performing. Like I'm never gonna not love performing. Like it's just I don't know. I feel like I'm home there. But
Yeah.
I have noticed that I don't run to jump on the stage now. It's like, okay, hey, can you come do this show this day? What's the specs? How many people you expecting? And you ain't trying to pay me? I ain't coming, man. I'll
Yeah.
catch you next time or something. But hey, I'm cool. But at a point, uh, somebody said one time, if they're not talking, people can talk to you all day long. If they're not talking about money, y'all are not talking business. And I was
Yeah.
like, absolutely. It's once I
Yeah.
embraced that, it started changing some things.
Yeah.
So I
And
guess,
it's
oh no, go ahead.
you go ahead. Go ahead. All I was
I
saying,
have no idea where I was going. So please.
all I was saying was like, it took me a minute to really embrace that too. Was once like LA helped me with that a whole lot. Like the LA scene really helped me with that, to where like, we can be friends and everything. So when I started doing the film festival down here, I was like, I'm gonna go to LA first and talk to them. So I go to LA and I'm talking to them, and I'm like, I'm just thinking it's gonna be like, like it is sometimes off the strength of shows. Like, all right, I want to put your film in this, and I want it to be highlighted, come down, yada yada yada. So then they start talking about screening fees and things like that, numbers and things that I've never heard of. So immediately I'm like, damn, these motherfuckers. Like at first, I'm like, man, what? And then I'm like looking at it and I'm like, well, actually, that's going to open me up to understanding this part of the business in Hollywood versus this headache that we do in hip hop shows. So let the man talk, let the man quote, let the man do this. Then, like another thing, you've seen Sinners, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah. So when he's talking to the girl, he's talking about, we're talking numbers now. When he's in, like, he's asking the little girl to watch the car for a little bit, and she's like, well, I'll do it for 10 cents. And he's like, no, you got to tell me some more. We're talking numbers now. She says, what about 13 cents or whatever? And like, that's the mentality that, we need to adopt when we are working with people that we care about. Because far too long, 20 years, but like a good 10, 12 of those years, none of us getting money.
Was pro bono than a motherfucker. You ain't lying.
None of us, man. None of us, dude. And really working in LA has helped me a lot to understand the entertainment business, because you got to put that umbrella over rap too, over hip hop. That it is entertainment still. It's an art form, it's entertainment, and people want to see it. People are gonna see it. And if you want them to see it and you want somebody to, to put their 2 cents in it and their artwork in it, it's got to be, because we did you right when you're here, and we're gonna do everybody right.
Absolutely. Like that's the whole thing for me is, and I mean, I know we I know they're reminding me, but I know. Okay. But I told them, I was like, hey man, look, I'm talking to Ty Brew. Y'all gonna have to just give me a minute. I'll be there. I got you. I'll go here, and I can actually close on this. What is let me preface it first, because we know the names. When people say, hey, Pantha, oh, da 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 da. That, like, there's certain things that are just etched in stone as far as the legacy of Pantha, as far as MCs in North Carolina go. There's certain things that are etched in stone as far as superstition goes, as far as MCs in North Carolina goes. Of course, J. Cole goes without saying. Even Petey Pablo has his own cemented things in regards to his legacy as an MC from North Carolina. When we're gone from here and we're dust, and there's a kid who's 12 years old who's coming up in whatever they're calling Asheboro at that point in time, because it's become some futuristic version of whatever it is now. When that kid opens the annals of North Carolina hip hop history and he gets to the T section and he turns to the Ty Brew page, what should it say?
Live by code.
My man. My man.
Live by code, man. That's it. It don't gotta be my code. It ain't gotta be, his code, your code. Your code. Man. Just stick to it. Don't falter.
That's tough. And the crazy thing is, people, for those of y'all who don't know, like, do your homework, please, on the history of Mightier and the Sword, and you'll understand why Live by Code was as powerful an answer to that question as it was. We used to have dog tags. I still had mine for the longest time. I think mine just broke in mine just broke in like 2019. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, I mean, so
we might have a couple left.
Hey, I'm about to be out there next month. I'm on Ruger's show October 20th.
I saw that.
25th, whatever.
All right, I saw that. E coming through and you coming through.
Yeah.
How long you gonna be here for? You text me how long you gonna be. Don't say it online. Just,
no doubt. Yeah.
Text me how long.
Well, I'm rocking. I think I'm rocking in Winston the night before that with Remy and them, or the night after. One of them, I can't remember. But yeah, we'll be there at least through the weekend. So I'll hit you with the details.
I got that.
We staying in Winston though.
I got footage for you from the last time, but I would love to shoot something.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's shoot something off Gravitas.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you. Say less, man.
Yeah,
man. Say less. So I tell you what. Let's do this. Tell the people how they can get a hold of you. Like, hey, good luck, because he don't be on social media. Like, I don't be on social media, but shoot your shot, nonetheless. How do people get in contact with you to get some of that firework you're doing?
MTTS TV on YouTube. I mean, that's what you're gonna see. A lot of different, like that's gonna be the whole spiel. Like it's gonna be the podcast to the music videos to the belly dancing we got on there. Like we got a lot of just eclectic stuff on MTTS TV. Live by Code on Instagram. Instagram is the one that I check the most, and it's also Instagram's got these channels now. That's the one where you're gonna get exclusive stuff first. So right now we were talking about the app song. That song is already on the Instagram channel. I've been really trying to listen to my Hollywood, LA folks about how to kind of like maneuver and position. We got 65 members on there. We want to get it to 100 by the end of the year, I hope. And other than that, film and fashion by Bruley.com. But like you were talking about, like I think we're putting a hard pause on the fashion after this year. We got to stop doing some things, man.
I feel you. Yeah.
But yeah, really best place to get in contact with me if you want to collaborate, you want to pick my brain, is Live by Code at IG.
No doubt. Man, do yourself a favor. Go check out which record was it? The one you shot for E?
Legacy.
Go check out Legacy. If you want to know who Ty Brew, like now me personally, I'm gonna tell you listen to everything. Just start from the top and push play and let it go. But if you want to be hard headed, just go find Legacy, listen to that first, and then you're gonna be like, well, damn, 7 said go listen to. I know, but it is. Make sure y'all support Ty Brew. Make sure y'all support Mightier in the Sword, whether it be music, whether it be film work, whether it be photography. I know they're putting a hard stop on the fashion, but while they still got it rolling, you still got a few months to lock in with that. Really, really dope flavors that they got over there. So, man, like we didn't even get a chance to really get into that, but like, yo, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, my man hey, when I say he consistent with the quality, I mean that in every single way.
Part 2, man.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's coming. As a matter of fact, I plan on if I could ever get a hold of Philly Fresh, I'm gonna get Brown Bag Special on here. I want all three of y'all at the same time.
Well, I'm gonna work on Tenacious, Will, Jay Bryant. I'm a Metaphor.
We need to have a big Mightier in the Sword episode.
Yeah,
I can have like 20 people up here at a time. So like,
okay.
You know what I'm saying? Let's do that. I would love to do that, man.
Yeah, let's do that, man. Thank you, man, so much.
Oh, thank you, man. Hey, bro, it's all love, always. You know what I'm saying? It ain't never been. You one of the few people in this world I can honestly say that ain't never been it ain't never been nothing sideways with us. It's always been all love. So I mean,
likewise.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that more than you can ever possibly imagine, man. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for locking in with Pantha Politix Network. We got a whole lot of fly shit popping over here. You know what I'm saying? Salute to my guys over at Pantha Politix Podcast, Monster Listen to P7. Salute to the guys over at All Purpose, Evan Almighty and Phantom. Of course, one love to our new sponsors, partners, W Energy. Make sure you place those orders. Make sure you use code Pantha Politix, all one word, to save 10%. On your order. It does good for you, does good for them, and can't front, it does good for us too. Oh man, thank y'all so much. We appreciate it. Make sure you like, comment, share, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen, and give us those 5-star ratings that make it easier to find us in the algorithm. Nothing but dope happening over here, man. The network putting out the best work. Side Barz. Salute to Ty Brew, Mightier in the Sword. I am Seven Da Pantha. Catch y'all next time, man. Peace.
I don't cheese for the cam, nigga. See a smile on the gram, they caught me slipping. I'm that nigga. Right? Fame for the young, just cut the check. Let me rap, nigga. Rap, nigga. Gravitas, now I'm a traveling smack dealer. Get all Genie.